Right now, it's 1:22 a.m. I was in bed, but I'm now sitting in the studio office watching the CCTV cameras live stream. The camera company that I currently use is having technical difficulties, as they very often do, making my cameras stop working as they should, which in turn makes it difficult, if not impossible, to view any past events. I'm able to scroll through the timeline on playback. I just can't jump to any specific recorded event as I usually can when the cameras are working properly. As I was laying in bed a few minutes ago, in my periphery, I watched someone walk up to my side of the bed and stop right about my hip area. When I looked toward where they'd been standing, there was nothing there at all. I thought I'd come and review the footage and see if it had been recorded. Now as I'm sitting here, I can hear someone walking around in the kitchen, but there is nothing at all on the cameras to be seen. Also, for the past 2 or 3 days, there has been this horrid stench that keeps creeping through. It only happens in 2 rooms of the house. Now, when I say stench, I mean putrid. It happens every couple minutes, stops for a while, then starts again. It's bad enough to make a person nauseous. I've decided that it's time to put a camera in the office. There are 2 chairs in said office. One's mine, the other belongs to my son. I usually move his chair so that it's out of my way and backed against the wall in front of the office door. As I was sitting here in the office, working on some upcoming video stuff, my son's chair moved. It turned 90 degrees to face the cabinet that sits right next to me. It never made a sound, and I didn't see it when it happened. I just looked over in that direction, and it had moved. If I'd had a camera installed, I could have had it recorded. This evening I was sitting here working when the printer turned on and started to print something. I wasn't trying to print anything, so I hit the cancel button. Usually when cancel is pushed, the current print job immediately aborts, and the printer goes ahead and releases the sheet it had been working on, then everything stops completely. I hit cancel, nothing happened. I hit it again, and again, nothing happened. I hit it about 16 more times, one after the other, but it kept right on printing. Well, what it had started and ultimately finished printing was my cousin's obituary. He died 2 days ago on July 24th. His funeral is this Saturday, July 28th, which is the day before my birthday. There was something in his obituary that he would have been absolutely livid about. Maybe he wanted me to see it too so we could both have a good laugh. A couple nights ago I was sound asleep and was awakened by a loud bang in the kitchen. After I was jolted awake, I lay in bed listening, thinking someone might have been trying to get through one of the doors, as that has happened in the middle of the night before. As I lay there, I heard what sounded like pebbles scattering across the bedroom floor. The floors are all hardwood, which makes it easy to hear any sound. This sound was one like someone was standing in the doorway to the bedroom and tossed a handful of gravel across the floor. After this, all was quiet. The camera did happen to catch the bang, but not the gravel sound. Yesterday I had an appointment with a doctor, whose facility happens to be a couple hours from where I live. As he and I were talking, the water faucet in the exam room came on and shut right back off. He stopped, dead in the middle of what he was saying. A real serious look came across his face. He looked at the sink, then back at me and said, "That sink is possessed," then went right back to what he had been talking about. I was trying not to laugh at the expression on his face. Maybe I should have told him that I have an entity that oftentimes travels wherever I go. Our dogs are currently residing outside. Rainy has recently started having bouts of barking in the middle of the night. I check the cameras and such, but I never see anything in the yard. I'm beginning to think we may have someone prowling around, or maybe a squatter or something. But it seems that I'd still be catching them on camera. The side of the houses that face my place are pretty visible in the dark due to a blindingly bright security light on a neighboring property. If there were someone walking in the yard or anything like that, we would be able to see them pretty well. Of course, they could be sticking to the shadows. If they come up close enough to Rainy, they will most likely regret their decision to do so pretty quick. She doesn't do well with strangers and is big enough to inflict pretty significant damage to a person if they make the mistake of getting too close. I've had a friend pull his truck up in my yard so we can sit on the tailgate at night to see what's going on. We usually sit outside until 12:30 or 1 a.m. We've witnessed a couple things that maybe been a little out of the ordinary, but nothing too spectacular. The night before last, my friend said that he saw someone walking close to one of the porches at one of the neighboring houses, which happens to be empty. Then a little later thought he saw a dim light in one of the windows of the house next to it, which is also empty. The night before, I saw the silhouette of a person standing between one of the houses and a big pecan tree that stands in the yard. It looked like they were standing there watching us. Just as I turned to look in their direction, they stepped either behind the tree or into the darker shadow right behind them. The first night, we thought we were seeing someone covered head to toe in really light or white clothing. They were standing near the edge of the woods, watching us. Rainy saw them too, because she was trying for all she was worth to get loose and get to them. I walked over to the area, but there was nothing there by the time I got there. We saw the same thing again a couple nights later, but it wasn't standing in the same spot. It was about 15 feet away from where it had been the first time. Both times we saw this particular thing, there was the sound of something really big moving around through the wooded area which is directly behind where this thing was standing. The crashing sounds that it was making were really loud, probably not sounds a person could manage to make, unless they were driving a Jeep through the trees. I'm just not real sure about this particular ordeal. I can't find any evidence of it being an actual person, but I can't say it isn't either. I guess I'll just have to see how things turn out. If you have a true, scary story, and would like to hear it on this channel, please submit it to SinisterFido@gmail.com. Until next time, stay sinister.